Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. It's a special edition of Gale Force Wins. Gale Force Wins, if you don't know, is a podcast that myself and a partner, Alan Dale, have put together. Today, however, we're going to have a conversation. Normally, those are conversations around people's journeys through life. This one, we're going to do a topic, and that topic is partnerships. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for Jeff Daniels, who's the President and Senior Consultant of WorkSafe Systems, in joining us. And we have at my left here, Ashley Noseworthy, who's the President and CEO of Edgewise Environmental. So, you two, you've got us here today talking about partnerships. Who'd like to go first and talk a little bit about partnerships?
Well, since it was handed off to me, thank you very much. Well, Ashley and I have a partnership. I mean, this is, I guess, the best way to open it is the announcement of a partnership. We have been working independently together in the same sector for a lot of years, and we actually came together as a part of a trade mission 3 years ago, just pre-COVID. Just pre-COVID. And met and discovered that we had a lot of similarities on the business side, and then COVID happens and we discovered through COVID that there's even more. So as a part of the work that I was doing specifically in Barbados, and with some other things that have happened since the start of COVID, we're now at a point where we've joined forces, and we are working, I'll say hard at a partnership that I've developed in Barbados to deliver training and consulting in the Barbados and larger Caribbean market.
So coming at this with absolutely no knowledge of what this partnership means, does that mean a name change in any way, or is it simply just integrating services?
Integrating services. So the two companies are still very standalone in that they deliver separate things in certainly certain areas, and this is very much a partnership in a specific region for right now. And so, we're always looking at export. Newfoundland has just some incredible talent here, and we realized that we were crossing sectors quite a bit, and that if we came together, especially within that region, perhaps we put together a really nice substantial package of some of at least the training elements that they were looking for in that particular region. And so it just made sense. Sometimes things just make sense.
And that region again is, are we prepared to talk about what region that is?
Well, I mean, it's the Caribbean as a whole, the CARICOM countries, starting in Barbados. I have an existing partnership in Guyana, and where it makes sense, we've decided that we're going to join forces. It really is a function of kind of getting the lay of the land with all of the countries that are there, finding out where the opportunities are, and then applying what we're doing into one or all of the countries as needed. Barbados is the start, could be into Guyana, depends on what's going on. But right now there is a very good opportunity with a local partner there, down with a training group called BIMAP, and I had partnered with them for delivery of what I do individually. And through the evolution of what's been happening now in the new economies, the blue economy and green tech and those kinds of things, it became another opportunity with the new Ministry of the Blue Economy down there to start delivering some training programs. So we're still working out the details. I'm trying not to be circumspect about it, but it's more a function of we're coming up to a trade mission now at the end of May and beginning of June, and we're going to start working through some of the details on this. So
this is it's exciting.
Exciting.
Jeff, you and I have talked a little bit about this kind of stuff in the past. I mean, my career has been 30 years retail. I did some work in Nova Scotia and Saskatchewan, and as a Newfoundlander, you feel a lot of pride being able to bring your business to another locale. Yep. Ashley, on your social media, you seem to like you're doing a lot of work in British Columbia. I guess that's the ocean work you're doing out there.
For sure.
What does it mean to you to be able to partner with someone like Jeff to bring that to that other community that you're going to?
So export has always been on the radar. I am the type of person, just myself, that I very much think about things in a global capacity. So starting a business is one thing, starting it and then expanding it into your own country is another, and then looking outwards of is there a specialized skill set here that you can then bring to a wider region that maybe needs some of that. And I think we're both of the mindset that it's not about dipping into countries and dipping back out. It's about building capacity in those particular countries and making and employing meaningful change in some of the changes that the world is going through a lot of changes right now, but especially in and around the blue economy and how we're moving forward. You want to make that change, and so this type of partnership, I think, brings some really strong elements. And then being able to export that is really wonderful. I have always said that there is just an immense amount of talent here in Newfoundland, and I think a lot of that does get exported, whether it is through companies or through individuals, and perhaps those stories aren't told. So it's a great thing to be able to perhaps get ahead of that a little bit and let people know that, the story is unfolding, and to be able to watch that perhaps in real time, and also to give people an opportunity to see that through all that we've been through COVID, that these things are still possible. And that perhaps, you might need to look at it in different ways of partnerships, of delivering it, is it virtual? How do you get down to these countries? What does it mean? There's definitely some logistical issues, but that these things continue to be possible, and that you persist. And Newfoundlanders are known for that, so.
Our conversation, even in the partnership piece, has changed over the last couple of years. How we would go about doing things. Had we not had COVID, we wouldn't have been able to kind of work through what that looked like. And the opportunity in the beginning wasn't there. That was something that evolved. So there's no better time than right now to be having this conversation, but there was really no other time to have the conversation either.
And ironically, that conversation started in Barbados.
It does, yes.
So, funny enough, sometimes it takes companies coming from the same space to go into a particular area looking separately, but realizing maybe it's better and stronger if we come together and do this together. Collaboration is key, and especially from an export point of view. For some companies, of course, it makes sense to go in solo, and for other companies, collaboration is really important.
It's interesting to me to listen to you both talk, and knowing you both from some work we were doing with the advertising world, I sense the similarities in personality and goals. But it's certainly a challenge as an entrepreneur to make this step. So how long have you been talking about this type of partnership? You've worked together over the years? Like, this is not something that happened overnight. This is something...
No, these types of things they take time to come to fruition. They take time to kind of organize in the back end. But I would definitely say perhaps those initial conversations, the first conversations happened in 2019. And then, of course, the world kind of slowed down, and it offered us the opportunity to have some really big and better conversations in 2020 through 2021.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And now we're at the point where we can actually go back into those countries with a formalized plan. So.
Well, even the conversational piece associated with us becoming partners in doing what we're doing is the same conversation we have when you're talking about export and partnership. So in this particular case, there's a lot of partners involved, but it's the same process. You got to get to know someone. You get to spend some time on the phone, FaceTime, and all of those kinds of things. Ashley had to get to know exactly what I did. It's fine to have it on paper, but she had to talk to me enough times to really understand what value that I would offer in a conversation together, and vice versa as far as that goes.
Absolutely.
So it's about time. It's about the FaceTime and building trust, building that relationship. If we're going to step into the Barbados market, the partner we have down there is Sonia Greenwich. It's a fantastic partnership for me because, again, through the COVID piece, I was able to have, I don't know how many conversations, dozens and dozens or hundreds, whatever it was, so that she became more knowledgeable about what we were doing. And
this is your partner in Barbados?
Correct,
Yeah.
by map.
Yeah.
And that she could trust what we were going to be doing and the offerings that we had, and kind of vet through all of those kinds of things. We don't want to be the fly-in, fly-out type of, which they have a tremendous history of, that we have a tremendous history of in the province. I grew up through the early days of Hibernia and saw what, as you just mentioned, the capacity building piece evolve. So when they first showed up from wherever and came in to start the development of Hibernia, there really wasn't very many here, if any, that could deal with what was needed. So all the expats came in, and all of that technology ended up into the local market to a degree, and then built from there. So we are today what we are through technology transfers and partnerships. And that's really what we're talking about down in Barbados in this particular case.
It's just so exciting to listen to you both. I mean, myself and Alan on this podcast are just fascinated by entrepreneurs. And I always say it's one thing to be an entrepreneur and set up shop here in St. John's. It's another thing to take that knowledge and bring it somewhere else. I'm getting goosebumps talking to you both about it, and I really feel privileged that you're willing to partner with Gale Force Winds on this announcement. So I really wish you both all the best. It's an exciting time to be part of what it is that you both are doing in this world. Anything that you'd like to say in parting?
Perhaps for anybody that's watching this, that if you're thinking about export, that there are opportunities that exist. We're going down through missions through EcoNext.
Yep.
There are missions through other industry associations. There are missions and virtual missions as well. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about going into a country, obviously do your due diligence and understand what type of country you may be entering and do your market research. But really research those opportunities as well, because even if you want to dip your toes and do a virtual mission, that has become a thing now since COVID. And it's a really great opportunity for new people to enter. So there are options. And if anything, that's perhaps the piece of advice I would impart on anybody who might be looking outwards on, how do I expand, or I'm interested in this particular market in this country.
Well, I thank you for that advice, because it's important that others understand that, what it is you're doing, and you're willing to share that advice. Jeff?
And I would just dovetail into that. I mean, take advantage of the systems and services that are available through EcoNext is how we met first, and it's through EcoNext now that we're going back down, which is great in and of itself. But I mean, your trade commissioning services, your high commissions or embassies, and all that ties into. So if you're into a formalized, say, trade mission, through EcoNext, not to oversell EcoNext, but through or NOIA or any of the others, they often come to the table with professionals that'll help that process along. And one thing to understand, two things to understand. Number one is it can happen. You can absolutely export. It takes a bit of time and energy, and if you think it's a short-term thing, then you've got a problem. But it can be done. It absolutely can be done.
Well, there you have it, folks. We have Jeff Daniels, WorkSafe Systems, Ashley Noseworthy with Edgewise Environmental, announcing a partnership. I'm really happy to say that here we are partnering. Gale Force Winds is partnering with you both on a conversation about partnerships. How nice is that?
Partners on partners.
Partners on partners. Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing more. And would you join us again down the road and have a conversation about the partnership? Myself and Alan are going to the Caribbean in a couple of weeks, so maybe down the road we'll have a visit with you both.
It would be awful, it would be awful to do this.
In market.
That's right.
Yes.
It would be awful to do this on the road. It would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.